move into executive session, and we'll start with a briefing of the bills.
Okay, good afternoon, Chair, members of the committee, Jeff Olson, staff of the committee. First bill up for executive action is Senate Bill 5846. That's concerning beaver ecosystem management. That bill directed Fish and Wildlife to create and implement a beaver ecosystem management plan that included managing beaver conflicts and identifying locations where beaver provide habitat, including salmon habitat. The bill also created a grant program to provide education and outreach, technical assistance, and resources to landowners for living with beavers on their property. There are 5 page and line amendments. The first amendment by Senator Short, A.1. That amendment adds that the beaver ecosystem management plan may not prevent landowners from taking immediate action necessary to protect life, property, and infrastructure. Second amendment by Senator Solomon is A.2. That amendment adds that conflict management at compensatory mitigation sites must consider the goals and objectives of the site. Third amendment by Senator Solomon, A3, directs the beaver ecosystem plan to include recommendations for education and outreach tools and options to mitigate or reduce conflict. The Fourth Amendment by Senator Mazzal removes the requirement that the statewide ecosystem management plan for the department directs the department to monitor beaver populations intake is removed. The Fifth Amendment by Senator Wagner directs Fish and Wildlife to develop recommendations for responding to and taking actions to protect life, property, infrastructure on a property owner's land from nuisance beaver activity that would be on an adjacent property owner's land.
Our first bill up is Senate Bill 5846, Beaver Ecosystem Management. It is before us. There's an amendment labeled A1.
I move adoption of the amendment.
Is there any discussion on the amendments?
She'd like to discuss.
Senator Short, go ahead.
We're going to vote for it.
Can you deal with your ranking member over there? No. Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. I think, as with anything, we've all had experiences about, issues that we have on our property where we're trying to protect major roads, major infrastructure, our homes, and that. And my whole reason in putting it up is just, we're asking the department to do this plan, and yes, it is a plan, but I also know that sometimes things get ahead a little bit, and I just feel like in the bill, adding that language saying that people can continue to protect that under current law was an addition I got from Fish and Wildlife, and I'm happy with that, and I'd urge its support. Thank you.
Yeah.
I want to thank Senator Short for getting that to me early so I could look it over and talk about it with people, and I'm recommending that we accept it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. The amendment's adopted. There is an amendment labeled A2. It's Solomon Amendment.
I move adoption of the amendment.
Any discussion on that one?
This was requested by the ports so that they could essentially maintain the function and the purpose of mitigation sites so that if it's disturbed by beavers, they could manage that. I recommend adoption.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. The amendment's adopted. There's an amendment labeled A3. It's another Solomon Amendment.
I move adoption of the amendment.
Any discussion?
This just directs that there be some ecosystem management plan to include education and outreach.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, nay. The amendment's adopted. And there is an amendment labeled A4, Senator Mazzal's amendment.
I move adoption of the amendment.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, nay. The amendment's adopted. There's an amendment labeled A5.
I move adoption of the amendment.
Is there any discussion? Senator Wagner?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I have a very real problem in my district that I'm trying to solve with this amendment. And it has to do with, so there's room in the bill for someone who owns the property to take care of a problem, but there isn't room in the bill for somebody who lives in an adjacent property when they're endangered by a beaver feature. And I have an entire neighborhood in Big Lake that lives 300 feet below a lake that's dammed by a beaver, and the dam blows out regularly. It scours all the eggs out of the stream. Salmon have quit spawning there because this has happened a few times. It launches giant logs down a very narrow valley at the homes. It narrowly missed the first home in its path last time. Next time this happens, I think that home is gone. It washed out the beach. It affected dozens of people. It caused the county thousands of dollars to clear the roads. And it's going to happen again and again. Somebody's going to get hurt or lose their home. That is the intent of this amendment. I've consulted with Fish and Wildlife. They do not think they're the appropriate agency to handle this, and I have to take that into consideration. So I look forward to working on that part of the problem as the bill goes forward, but for now, I will withdraw the amendment.
Amendment A5 is withdrawn. Mr. Vice Chair.
I move that the amendments be rolled into a proposed substitute and that it receive a due pass recommendation and be sent to the Ways and Means Committee.
Any discussion on final passage? Senator Short.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think there's a lot of value in certain parts of the bill, and I'm going to continue discussion with Senator Solomon. For today, I'm without rec, but I do want to have those conversations and see if maybe there's some tweaks to the language that we can make moving forward. So thank you.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. The bill passes subject to signatures.